I'm going to show you how to get Unsullied Hearts as well as the Greater Blood Essence and that second crafting recipe for Greater Blood Essence. So if you're trying to get the Unsullied Hearts in order to make, I'm assuming it's going to be to make Greater Blood Essence, which if you don't already know, you can go to Production Refinement once you've unlocked the recipe through doing main story quests, and there's a blood press which uses 12 planks, 120 stone. You can make planks of the sawmill. Pretty straightforward stuff. This is what it looks like. You go to it, and you can turn the 4 Unsullied Hearts into a Greater Blood Essence, and there's this unknown recipe for 200 Blood Essence into 1 Greater Blood Essence, which is the one that you really, really want, which I'll get to in a second. So the Unsullied Hearts. So in order to get these Unsullied Hearts, there are 2 ways to get them. There's the V-Blood bosses, and there are higher level enemies. But it's, I don't know, I would stick to the V-Blood bosses for the most part, unless you're like already level 60 plus, but at that point you can just turn normal Blood Essence into the Greater Blood Essence, so it doesn't really matter, although I don't really know about the highest level enemies. Maybe they just drop them like candy. I don't really know, but easiest way to do is go to the Blood Altar and then track, this is my opinion on the easiest way to do it, track Lydia the Chaos Archer, then go to the go to the map, and depending on where your base is, if you're like over here to the right, then just find her, and then after you're done with her, or before, depending where she is, go to the Bandit Copper Mine, and there's also a boss way down there in the very north part of the mine, and you get 2 kills every cycle and come back. And while you're out, you may run into the Alpha Wolf. If you go through this as a part of the zone around the cave passage, in order to get there, you may just happen to run into the Alpha Wolf, which can also drop Unsullied Hearts. And then you may run into Gore Swine the Ravager. If you're in on the southern road down here, there's a chance you'll run into him as well. So there's a chance for like up to 4 bosses every cycle. And then after you do that, you just come back to your castle, wherever you placed it on the map, assuming hopefully you put it in Farbane Woods if you're doing what I'm saying right now. And every single one of these bosses has maybe a 1 in 3, 1 in 4 chance of dropping an Unsullied Heart. It's hard to know the exact number. I don't have a big enough sample size to know for sure, but it seems like anywhere from 1 out of 2 to 1 out of 4 bosses on average will drop an Unsullied Heart. So you can just do that and then come back, and they respawn really fast. So by the time you're back at your castle, you can already track them again and then go hunt them again, and just keep doing that until you have enough Unsullied Hearts, 4 in particular, to make the Greater Blood Essence, assuming that's what you're after, or more than 4 if you need more than 1 Greater Blood Essence. So then once you have that, just like I mentioned before, you would go over to your blood press, and then you can drop them in here and make sure this is toggled on and turned green, and it'll take 3 minutes for each Greater Blood Essence to craft. Now, the other way to get it is a little bit later on in the game, and it is by turning Blood Essence into Greater Blood Essence. Now, this recipe is the way you're going to want to go, because Blood Essence is much easier to get, as you'll be able to see from my Blood Essence storage chest. I have this much just sitting around on top of just burning also anything I could possibly use it on. So in order to get that recipe, there's a boss in here that you won't even be able to track until higher levels. It's this guy right here, and I forget his name, but something the Vampire Hunter or Vampire Slayer. Can't remember. You may have run into him on your own. Yeah, actually, he wanders the Farbane Woods, I mean, and he roams the entire place. I have found him in the Bandit Trapper Camp. I have found him north of Bandit Sulfur Quarry when not even looking for him, just running around. He's level 46, I want to say, and he is very difficult to kill. He has a very strong move set, and he does a ton of damage. So I would not recommend fighting him until you're at least like above level 30, and even then, it's very, very easy to lose the fight to him, and I may make a guide specifically for how to beat him pretty soon, since I think I got the mechanics down pretty well on what he does and how to dodge it and how to just not take damage. But he is a tough boss. Would not recommend it until you have at least copper weapons and stuff and good armor, like minimum, okay? But if you can eventually defeat him, whether by tracking him or just happening to run into him when you're super low level and managing to kill him somehow, then he will drop the crafting recipe for that Blood Essence into Greater Blood Essence. Then when you go over to your blood press, that recipe will be unlocked, and you'll be able to put Blood Essence into here, and it will convert it into the Greater Blood Essence. So that is how to get that crafting recipe, if you're wondering about that. The last thing is normal enemies can drop Unsullied Hearts, but generally you won't even see that drop until you get to at least the Dunley Farmlands, which is level 30 plus. Now, I killed like between 50 and 100 enemies in the Dunley Farmlands, and only one of them dropped an Unsullied Heart, which was terrible. It was really awful. So I would not recommend it there. Now, I don't know. I actually have not killed enemies in Silverlight Hills or Cursed Forest yet. I would assume they have a higher drop chance, especially since there's still an exquisite heart, which I've never even had drop, which I assume is going to be late game V blood bosses or very late game enemies. So between the Cursed Forest, the Silverlight Hills, I have a feeling they start to be a more common drop, but that's purely speculation. So normal enemies starting from Dunland Farmlands and on can drop them. I just know starting from Dunland Farmlands, the drop rate is absolutely terrible. And by the time that you get one, you could have had like 10 by doing that cycle I talked about on V-Blood bosses in the Farbane Woods. Now again, Silverlight Hills, Cursed Forest, I don't know what the drop rate is, so it could be different. So that's pretty much everything. Just a reminder, production and then Blood Press right here in order to make it. I think you unlock it from doing the main story quest at the top left is how you get this unlocked. I don't think it was a V-Blood enemy, but it may have been. I don't remember. But it's one or the other, and that's how you unlock it. But yeah, that's everything about Unsullied Hearts and Greater Blood Essence. That's how to get them, how to craft them, how to farm them. That's everything I think to tell you about those crafting materials in V Rising.